In my previous video, I outlined the goals from the leaked Wexner document. For those who haven't watched my previous video, I'll repeat it here for you. The document entitled Wexner Analysis, Israeli Communication Priorities 2003 counsels pro-Israel advocates in the media to keep invoking the name of Saddam Hussein and to stress that Israel was always behind American efforts to rid the world of this ruthless dictator and liberate their people. Despite his solid support for Israel and Ariel Sharon, the document warns pro-Israel advocates not to compliment or praise President Bush. At the same time, it acknowledges that Yasser Arafat has been a great asset to Israel because he looks the part of a terrorist. The installation of Mahmoud Abbas as Palestinian Prime Minister and potential replacement for Arafat comes at the wrong time, because he has a potential to improve the image of the Palestinians, and that would put the onus on Israel to return to negotiations. The document advises supporters of Israel to appear to affect a balanced tone, but admits that in arguing for Israel's policies, the illegal settlements are our Achilles heel, for which there is no good defence. The document was commissioned by the Wexner Foundation, a private foundation that was founded and financed by a Zionist billionaire, Les Wexner. In 2016, he donated over $2 million to Republican establishment super PACs that supported Jeb Bush and John Kasich. He is ranked number 6 of the top individual contributors to federal-focused 527 organizations in the 2016 election cycle. In 1984, Wexner established the Wexner Foundation, whose goal is to strengthen the field of Jewish leadership. So this is how the Zionist billionaires organize the Jewish community and establish a strong network working for their interests. The foundation runs 3 major programs: the Wexner Heritage Program for North American Jewish volunteers, the Graduate Fellowship of students pursuing a master's degree in the Rabbinic Cantorat or Jewish Studies, and an Israel Fellowship which funds Israeli political officials for a master's degree in political administration for Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government. Right, so we can see clearly where Wexner's loyalties lie. He is a hardcore sponsor of basically developing and maintaining the Jewish power structure in the United States and Israel. You can see how much money he's giving to Israel and benefiting, Jews and Israelis, Jews, rather than looking to help Americans. Funding foreign nationals to take university places at the expense of Americans and for them to return home and serve in a foreign government is disloyal to the United States. His support for rabbinic and Jewish studies shows his intent on maintaining a dumbed-down Jewish general public, brainwashed by the Judaic teachings and victim mentality prevalent among Jewish communities that have been indoctrinated through Jewish studies and the Judaic religion, which has constantly supported the fear-mongering extremist war criminal-infested Likud government. Maybe even more disturbing than this is Les Wexner's relationship with the convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Wexner has been a client of Epstein since 1987, and in 1992 Wexner converted a private school in the Upper East Side into an enormous commercial residence. Epstein later bought that property in the wealthiest part of Manhattan. Now that right there, that shows you Wexner's mentality. Instead of supporting this establishment, he'd rather just buy the private school in a high-priced location and then convert it into a residence for his own personal gain. Then on the other hand, he is funding Israeli citizens to go to the United States and study at Harvard and take advantage of their education system. In 1995, Wexner turned over his Herbert N. Strauss mansion in Manhattan that he paid $13.2 million for in 1989 to his financier and protege, Jeffrey Epstein. Leslie Wexner's name appears in the Black Book. Now, the Black Book is the evidence that was used in the trial against Jeffrey Epstein. Basically, the butler, I think his name's Alfredo Rodriguez, he's died now. He basically took the book as an insurance policy from losing his job, I think, because he knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And Leslie Wexner's name is in this book, and I've provided a PDF in the description below the video, and on page 81 that's where his details are, and there's numerous contact details of Leslie Wexner, and he is highlighted as a person of interest. There's much more connections and directions to get into in regards to this information, but I'll have to cover it in greater detail at a later date. Now back to the Wexner document. So what I've done is I've taken the information and created bullet points of the outline message of a document as a blueprint to use to analyze articles to see if the messages are consistent with each other. You know, I've taken a recent article. So in 2003, the figures presented in the Wexner document was that Mahmoud Abbas, the PLO leader, had the potential to improve the image of the Palestinians and could put the onus on Israel to return to negotiations. Now in 2017 we have Caroline Glick, who is she's a journalist for the Jerusalem Post, and in this article she's fiercely attacking Trump for even inviting Abbas to a meeting. Now this delusional tirade emits major facts to create false narratives in an effort to distance Trump from Israel, and suggests that even speaking to Abbas is a betrayal of Israel. She then claims that Abbas is a terrorist and the PLO is a terrorist organization, and that Trump supports imaginary PLO terrorist attacks against Israel. The complete overreaction shows how fearful the Zionist agents are of even the mention of negotiations with Abbas. Caroline Glick even has a book entitled The Israeli Solution, a one-state plan for peace in the Middle East. What is also consistent with the Wexner document is the failure to speak of the US president in a positive light, even though the president has changed since the Wexner document was leaked. There is no acknowledgement of the overwhelming Zionist influence over Trump and the entire US government. The fact that Trump has personally donated, along with his in-laws the Kushners, hundreds of thousands of dollars to ultra-Orthodox Jewish charity Beit El that funds the development of settlements in the West Bank. Trump has also donated to the United Jewish Appeal Federation, which was founded in 1939 to assist Jews settling in Palestine. Trump has also donated to the American Jewish Committee and American Jewish Historical Society. Now, I could go on forever about this and all these links to Israel and the Jewish connections, but I think I've pretty much proven my point and I'm going to move on. The article consistently links the word terrorists to PLO and Palestinians. This is consistent with the Wexner document's concerns about the image Abbas portrays compared to Yasser Arafat. The Wexner document states Yasser Arafat has been a great asset to Israel because he looks the part of a terrorist. With that now lost, Glick is projecting that the PLO are the terrorist group and the Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons are terrorists. Glick also brings up the US foreign aid to the PLO, then asserts they are funding terrorists. Yet Palestinians actually need aid, as there are blockades surrounding the Gaza Strip, making it very difficult to trade and get the resources they need, and also have had vital infrastructure destroyed, such as schools, and major damage to a hospital carried out by Israeli attacks. Palestinians have the highest unemployment rate and very high rates of poverty. Yet Caroline Glick wants to stop all aid and assistance to the Palestinian people from the United States, while Israel received over $3 billion in aid from the US, including weaponry and defense quotation systems that have been used to attack Palestinians and their infrastructure. In 2016, a $38 billion aid deal was struck between the US and Israel for the next 10 years. In the midst of a 7-year blockade on the West Bank, record-breaking number of home demolitions took place, even as the number of the Jewish settlements increased. Equally alarming is Israel's systematic military detention of Palestinian children. Yet this is largely ignored in the media, and a major inconvenience to Caroline Glick's worldview. Last year alone, 32 children were killed by Israeli forces, and 82 suffered injury at the hands of Israeli soldiers, with over half of the injuries caused by live ammunition. Accountability for any of these horrendous actions in Gaza is rare. In fact, last year, from over 100 incidents, only one was investigated and led to an indictment. Although Israel's security forces and Israeli citizens killed 94 Palestinians and injured over 3,200 in the West Bank, whereas only 11 Israelis were killed by Palestinians and 131 injured. It will be no surprise to people who have listened to my material and watched my videos that Caroline Glick is linked to the Israel Project and the Center for Security Policy. Caroline Glick is a frequent guest on Frank Gaffney's Secure Freedom radio program and has even co-authored a book with him. In a previous video, I exposed the Israel Project's links to Frank Gaffney's Center for Security Policy and their involvement in the Wexner document. Lastly, I wanted to add that Caroline Glick in 2016 received the Lion of Zion Award from the Moskowitz Prize for Zionism that was founded by Zionist billionaires Irving and Cherna Moskowitz. The Cherna Moskowitz and Irving Moskowitz foundations are consistent donors to the Center for Security Policy. I'm going to leave it here for now, and I'll be getting into more detail of topics that I've touched on here in future videos. Thank you for watching.